Hello everyone, and today we're back at another tier list. And today we are ranking all of the fire types in Loomian Legacy. Well, almost all of them. We're not going to rank all of them. We're not ranking some of the first evolutions because they're not as viable compared to the other ones. But the thing is, a lot of the fire type pre-evolutions are actually usable in PvP. So we got a few of them. We got 5 of them actually. So yeah. We got Revine, Searknight, Cradle, no, that's not Vocaloa. That is Krakalola, Whispup, Revanine, Gekasplode, Eruptodon, Vocaloa, Chartiki, Dobo, Infernix, Hognose, and finally the legend Ikazune. So, yeah, those are all of the Loomians we're going to rank, and we got best, great, good, great, okay, and bad. So, let's get started. Now, Revine. Now, I know everyone's going to say that Revine was a meme in the past, and he definitely was. Revine was definitely a meme back then. But, with Body Crash, instantly makes it better again. Because, if you don't know, Body Crash stacks with Drop of Youth. And you know what that means? Body Crash does heavy damage. Revine is now a heavy damage dealer now. And imagine him with barbs. The only flaw would be is that it would not have recovery. It honestly is okay. I don't think it's quite good despite that, though. I think it's only okay. Although it getting barbs and it using it would be amazing, too. Like, honestly, Revine is honestly very underrated now. Even with Searknight being heavily buffed, this thing getting Body Crash is massive for it. Absolutely massive. Although I'm not sure if you actually get barbs or not. That is something I am going to have to check. But I think you get Body Crash, so I'm pretty excited to rally it onto you. Searknight, it's good. I hate Searknight. I wish it was bad. I wish I could make a Searknight tier, but it got heavily buffed. Darn it, Jamie, you heavily buffed Searknight. You gave it barbs, Body Crash, and armor down. Like, come on. Come on, buddy. We don't want this guy to terrorize. We need more ranged earth types. Come on, more earth types, Jamie. Make a fire spirit type that's bulky on the melee side and has mudslide. Come on, we need that. But yeah, jokes aside, Searknight is actually good now. The only reason it's not in the great tier is because it doesn't have any recovery besides health amulet, and its range defense is a little lacking unless you put range defense in it. Other than that, though, Searknight's really good, and honestly could be in the great tier if it gets any if it gets any more moves. Cradle, it's bad. Like, the thing is nothing towards Cradle, honestly. Like, honestly, Cradle is fine, but there's just no reason to use it. Even with Volcanic, I mean, there's a lot of other things you can just use better. Krakalola, that's in the great tier. I mean, Raging Flame, Mud Spatter. Like, even though it doesn't really hit hard, it's a tanky Loomian that can get rid of barbs. It's basically something that can get rid of barbs. It runs Mysterious Dust. It can tank. It completely messes up melee tanks as well. So, Krakalola is actually in the great tier. I think it's not quite at best, but it's definitely up there in the gray. I think it definitely is a little better than Searknight. Plus it has Rejuvenate, which is nice. Whispup, it's a gimmick. That's the thing. Whispup's a gimmick. You use Accelerate and you Final Ruse. It's a gimmick. That's all it is. Revanine is in the great tier. I mean, it's one of the best revenge killers in the game with Vengeance. It's really fast. It hits very hard. So yeah, Revanine is definitely up there in terms of the great tier. I mean, Vengeance. And this Loomian often gets so many KOs against me just because it hits really hard. Even against ranged tanky Loomians, it's very hard to stop Revanine. Gekasplode. I'm going to put it a step higher compared to Cradle and Whispup, and the reason is why? Because it has Magma Block. Magma Block makes it really scary. It commonly has Magma Block, and then it actually still hits pretty solidly hard. So it is a step above Cradle and Whispup, although it is not quite as good as Eruptodon. And I'm debating between good or great. I'm putting it in the great tier because of Mudslide. Mudslide gets rid of hazards. Mudslide gets rid of hazards, which is amazing. Not only is it a stronger Earth-type move for Eruptodon, it gets rid of hazards. It actually is a hazard removal now, which is amazing. And that with Dark Surge gives it probably the best coverage out of any fire type other than one, which we'll get to in a second. But Eruptodon is definitely up there in the great tier. And honestly, as weird as it sounds, in contention for the best fire-type Loomian. That sounds very weird. Vocaloa. Now, I want to put Vocaloa in the great tier. It's one of the fastest ones, has amazing coverage, but it's only going to be in the good tier. And there is a couple reasons why it's only in the good tier. One, it's an ancient fire type, and there's another ancient fire type I think that does a little bit better. And two, and honestly the bigger reason, before you Braum Boost, it doesn't necessarily hit that hard. It doesn't really hit hard until you get a Braum Boost. Once you do get a Braum Boost, you can start nuking. But it is really necessary for it to get the Braum Boost in order to sweep. That's the thing. And since it's so frail, it's really hard to get it off. That's the thing. It's very hard to get it off. So that's why it's in the good and not in the great. It's still a great Loomian, though. It's still a good fire type. Chartiki's in the great tier, though. I mean, it's one of the only fire types. It's one of the only fire types that is not completely screwed by earth types right now. I mean, and it also can beat Eruptodon very well. It's one of the best counters for Eruptodon in the game. It resists metal. It resists a bunch of different typings. It even has an immunity to plant and an immunity to light, which makes it just amazing. The only flaw I would say is weak to dark, but even then, it's really bulky, has a very high health stat and average defense, while having Muck Blast's coverage, which is really good for it. Plus Burn Up to get rid of hazards. Honestly, a lot of these fire types can get rid of hazards, which makes it really good. Dobo, I don't want to necessarily say Dobo's bad, though. I'm saying in between okay and bad, because Dobo can be good. And it actually does have Return to Sender, which could actually make it... Yeah, I'm putting it in okay. I think it's just a step above. Plus, it could run Pyro. It could be actually a good Scorching Skin, actually. It could be very good with Scorching Skin. It's probably the best Loomian that can utilize Scorching Skin. So yeah, actually, yeah, I am going to put it in okay. It probably is the best Loomian with Scorching Skin. Now, let's get into our main man, and let's go to our main man himself, Infernix. Like, it's in the great tier. There's no doubt about it. It's probably the best fire type in the game. It has 89 base speed, which is awesome. It hits very hard with Pyro. It has very good coverage. I mean, it has ancient coverage. It also has earth and air coverage, which is awesome. You can run that as a third move. It has Phoenix Flame to heal up. Its melee defense is iffy, but it has amazing range defense. It even has Return to Sender, actually, as well. It can be utilized with Return to Sender. It has Power Napper, which is an amazing ability. Pyro's also amazing. Scorching Skin's questionable, but you could run it if you really want to. I mean, it's an Infernix. It is one of the best fire types in the entire game, and it's definitely in contention for the best fire types in the update. Now, we got Hognose. And Hognose is only good, and there's one reason why it's only good. Despite it getting Earth coverage, Muck Buck, and Raging Tackle, which makes it hit harder, and Baneful Bash to actually hit water types, which is nice. The only reason it's not quite in the great tier is because Krakalola, I think, does its job a little bit better than Hognose. Hognose hits harder. It has more offensive... It's a tanky offensive pressure Loomian. But it wouldn't usually run burn-ups. I know some sets do, but it wouldn't usually run burn-ups. So it actually isn't the best barb removal or hazards removal, so yeah, it's only in the good tier. It is probably the best out of the good tier, though. It probably is the best out of the good tier, though, which definitely puts it very high. But now we're gonna have the shock of the century, Ikazune. With all of the buffs the fire types have gotten over the years, with Searknight actually becoming good, with Infernix getting Levitate soon, Chartiki getting Muck Blast, with Hognose getting its buffs, and Ikazune just kind of getting left for cold? This is going to be really cruel. Ikazune might be one of the worst roamings in the game now. Ever since Duskit now has Outbursts as like coverage, I think Duskit's actually better than Ikazune. It's sad. Ikazune used to be very good, and with its secret ability, can actually still be a very good heavy wall breaker. It's so frail on the melee side, though. It has 74 speed, which doesn't sound that bad, until it has no melee defense. It has no melee defense. And also, its range defense isn't that good neither. It's just not that reliable. It can't survive long enough. It's only utilized with Baffle, and that's it. When other fire types hit harder too. Infernix hits harder. Eruptodon hits harder. Revanine hits harder with Vengeance. Searknight's more tanky and also can place barbs. Vocaloa has Braum boost and it's faster. So it's just not as good. This is probably the worst fully evolved fire type. It's only okay. I'm doing it. Ikazune's in the okay tier. That is gonna be very questionable, but Ikazune's only okay. It does only have 2 weaknesses, but again, those weaknesses are water, which is very common, and earth, which is also very common coverage moves. Especially to almost every single fire type. Earth, 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 earth. Brawler coverage as well, so yeah. Ikazune is definitely the worst fully evolved fire type, which is kind of sad. Although, let's not talk about the worst anymore. Who is the best fire type in the update? Is it Krakalola for being one of the best barb removals in the game? Revanine for its vengeance? Eruptodon for actually getting barb removal while being a heavy hitter? Chartiki with its nice defensive capabilities and barter? Or Infernix for just being a literal beast at everything? And if I was able to pick a top 3, it's actually going to be very tough. But I think I have to go with the offensive brothers here. I think I'm going to have to go with Revanine, Eruptodon, and Infernix. And Krakalola is good, and Chartiki are good, but they do have some weaknesses, like Chartiki is weak to dark, and also Krakalola doesn't hit hard enough. Great tank, but doesn't hit hard enough. But how about these 3? There's so much good to talk about these 3. Who is the best fire type out of Revanine, Eruptodon, and Infernix? And the winner is... It's actually very close. And if I was to pick one, it's Infernix. I mean, I think it makes sense why Infernix is the best fire type. It's even going to get Levitate in the future, which is going to make it even more OP. But I was honestly thinking about putting Eruptodon number 1 once it got Mudslide, but there's one little reason why I did put Infernix at number 1 over Eruptodon. Despite Eruptodon having more consistent coverage, Infernix does have more coverage, and it does have Phoenix Flame. It can actually get health back, and it is a little bit more bulky compared to Eruptodon. So yeah, that's the reason why I did put Infernix above Eruptodon, although Eruptodon was very close. It was very close, don't get me wrong. But yeah, that is my fire type tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and everyone's opinions are going to be very different. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!